Hola, buenos días. Estamos en la casa de Pro Eagle y vamos a ver uno de los representantes de cada marca y vamos a preguntarles las cosas que venden y de dónde es hecho las cosas. So let's go. So aquí estoy con el representante de la marca Pro Eagle. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Chuck Foreman.
Chuck Foreman. Él nos va a explicar de la marca, cómo está hecha y las diferencias de los gatos que traen aquí. La compañía Pro Eagle hace gatos de off-road y también hace gatos para garage. La diferencia de estos gatos es que son para off-road use de las llantas y las diferencias de lo que puedes hacer con ellos. So, aquí nos va a explicar cómo empezó la compañía y las diferencias de los gatos que tienen. So, you want to be able to explain to us how the company started?
Yeah, so in 2012, we're a private label manufacturer. So we build jacks for Snap-on and for Napa Auto Parts. So I took the idea of a large wheel jack with a skid plate on it and an extension to make it work for us off-roaders. And they thought it was too small of a market. They weren't interested in it. So we walked out of the meeting and said, you know what, that's fine. We're just going to do it ourselves. So we still manufacture those jacks for them. But since then, we've made so many advancements on learning how the jacks work in the dirt and what they like and what they don't like about off-road. We put all that technology into our jacks. From 2013 until now, it's been our product. Our jack, we've been Pro Eagle all the way, and it's an excellent fit for almost all off-roaders.
La compañía Pro Eagle se hace mucho la diferencia por la misma razón de que tienen las llantas grandes. So, cuando pasas por el cemento, la tierra, los gatos pueden cruzar por lo que no puede un gato normal que tiene uno en el garage. Que cargan en el carro, tiene las extensiones. Can you explain to us like of the different models you have?
Yeah, so we start off with a 1.5 ton jack, which is our newest jack that we have out, our newest full jack. This is where it originated, the 2-ton OG, 2-ton big wheel jack, and then our 3-ton jack all the way at the end.
So, las diferencias de estos gatos, can you tell us like the difference between someone carrying a high lip and then carrying a Pro Eagle? Like, what's the differences in safety and what could you get out of it compared to you? Like, what's the difference between the pros and the cons of you carrying a Pro Eagle?
So even experienced users that have used a farm jack before are still intimidated by it. People that have used it multiple times still don't want to use it. They call it the Widowmaker for a reason.
No, I think they also call them jawbreakers as well.
That's true. The handle snaps back. So we just have a product that's easier and more user-friendly. All of our jacks have a built-in skid plate on the bottom, which gives you, on the 3-ton jack, it's almost 3 feet long and a foot wide. So it's a 3 foot by 1 foot solid flat plate. So if you are in soft dirt, sand, mud, whatever it is, it gives you that big footprint to distribute the load properly. Whereas a farm jack has a little footprint like this.
Yeah, you also have to buy an adapter for the base if you're in sand or mud or
So, but the biggest part is you can put the jack underneath the tire or the load, close to it, whatever you're lifting. So you can lift this high rather than attaching it to the body if you have rock sliders or a steel bumper and lifting through all the wheel travel of the vehicle and then pulling the tire off the ground. So for instance, with a Jeep Wrangler JK, the bumper ends up being almost 5 feet off the ground before the tire even comes off the ground. Whereas ours, you can put it right underneath the axle and you lift this far.
And then you also have the pull this thing off. And that's the good thing about it, because not only do you carry it for your Jeep, but if you have like a UTV or you're out there racing a Baja truck, ultra sport car, if you have the Jeep and your car breaks down out in the trail, let's get the jack down and you can lift any type of car.
Yeah, exactly. And you take the extension off of it and you can still use it to change the oil on your passenger car.
Yeah. So what would be the diferencia de a common garage one compared to this big one?
So I do recommend that people, if they're just using it in their garage and they aren't going to see any off-road use, that they get the 2-ton OG without the wheels. The only difference between this one and that one is the solid axles and the wheels, and it's just ease of movement from here to there. So if you do have an asphalt parking lot that you're working in like this makes your life so much easier. But on a nice pristine garage floor, it doesn't really matter, and this doesn't drop this one.
So la diferencia de este jack comparado de uno que tiene uno en casa es de que las llantas, como dijo otra vez, pueden pasar por cualquier terreno, tierra, lo que sea, lodo, arena. Lo han ingeniado a donde tiene un pedazo de metal abajo y puede comprimir el suelo para que pueda aguantar el peso que va a sostener. Well, I guess these are all the questions I have for you. I'm gonna see if I can get it all translated nice.
Yeah, okay.
So all these people understand and know the purpose of these jacks.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I used to have a high lift. I started lifting and I started seeing this thing come back. I'm like,
yeah.
It was gonna be the end of me.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I started searching for like a cool jack. And I think I went out to KOH and I seen one.
Okay.
And ever since then I'm like, what is it? Who makes it? And once I figured it out, I ordered one.
Nice. Thank you.
So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to try to keep getting some more content, and like I said, trying to translate it so everybody in the Latino community or anybody that speaks Spanish in general will be able to understand.
Awesome.
And we could open them up to your company.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ya estoy de regreso. Estamos en el puesto de Switch Pros. Es una compañía que hace una unidad para poder controlar tus luces para tu Razor, Can-Am o cualquier vehículo que tengas, Jeep, no importa, Toyota. Estamos aquí con la señora y nos va a explicar de lo bueno de esta compañía y de lo que te puede ayudar a ti en tu rig o en cualquier carro que tengas. So will you be able to explain to us how Switch Pro started?
Absolutely. So my husband and I have actually been in the automotive electronics business since 1999. We started with high idle systems, which were designed primarily for military applications. But as you can see, we are enthusiasts. We would go off-road. We would travel with friends. We started with a 93 YJ, then we went to a JK. Now we have a JL and a JT. But what we wanted to do on the JK is we wanted to put lights. But because my husband's background is automotive electronics, he didn't want to use old school relays and fuses because he knew that there was a better system out there, which is what they call MOSFETs, which are tiny microprocessors or microcontrollers that control each one of the circuits in our system. So he actually went to work designing a printed circuit board that could actually control these switches and 12-volt accessories by using tiny microprocessors and putting them all into a solid state form.
Will you be able to explain to me how I'll be able to use these switches on my lights or the setup I could run?
Absolutely. So when you mount the power module, you actually just take the primary, the power from the battery. This is actually a fused battery cable, so that's actually the only place you need a fuse. And then this plugs in, and this is actually your output harness. So each one of these wires or pairs of wires actually goes to the power on any one of these, the power line for any one of these outputs. And then you ground each accessory to either a chassis ground or a bus bar. And then you ground our system, and the ground wire is actually right in here underneath, directly to the battery. And it's that simple. So you take a power from your output, connect it to a power lead, directly connect to a power lead on our harness, ground the accessory, ground our one grounding wire to the battery, and actually then when you turn a switch on, you actually, it'll send 12-volt power directly to the output.
Could you also explain to us how the how the switches hook up to your phone and how you could do the difference.
Absolutely. So every touch panel has a Bluetooth transmitter embedded in it. That transmitter then pairs with any kind of a Bluetooth device. It can be any type of phone or tablet. And what will happen is your phone or your tablet will communicate with the touch panel. Then anything that you do on the the phone communicates with the touch panel, and then the touch panel sends the signal through this cable to the power module, which then sends the signal out here directly to the output. So something like this. And then you can turn it on here, you can actually turn it off here. So these are mirror images of one another. So anything done on the app shows up on the touch panel, and anything done on the touch panel shows up on the app.
And si lo oprimes el botón, dos o tres veces tiene su propia programación. So if you press the button 1 or 2 times, it has its own program. So if I click on this twice, I could make the...
It may not be, this one may not. Let's see which one. There it is.
Like if I click on this twice.
If you click on it one time, it's going to stay on steady. If you've gone into the programming in the app and programmed it, when you double tap, it can have a secondary function of like a bursting strobe, a flash, or a regular strobe. So that one, this one might also, let's see, that one also. So you can program those so that any of these lights can actually have a steady function or a secondary function of strobe or bursting strobe.
Okay.
And these are also programmed, if you notice this is programmed as a master for these two outputs. So anytime I turn this switch on, which is switch 8, it automatically also turns on switch output 1. They come on together.
Oh, they come on together because you programmed.
Because we programmed these two to be a team.
So you also have your custom programizations you want, strobe and momentarily on. And also if you have like some type of race car and if you want to turn it on by your phone, you could probably do that as well, right?
Absolutely. So you can actually program the ignition. So you can program to actually turn the ignition on, which will wake the panel up. Then you would program, in this case, right over here, you would program the start to be a momentary. And you would that's actually not programmed correctly, but you would program it so that when you push and hold, when the vehicle starts, you let off the switch, and the vehicle is now running.
And this is your this
is the Racer Force 12. So this system it's obviously 12 switches, but 17 circuits, 125 amp capacity, 5 high inrush capable circuits. Has all the same functions as the 9100. It's just beefier. It's bigger. It's got more power. It controls more things, and it has more functions. So on this system, you can actually control. You can have one switch that can control several functions for one specific, like a light. If it has a background and a foreground, you can turn the background on with one push. You can turn the foreground on with the second push, and the third push turns it off.
Another question. ¿Qué es la diferencia de esta marca comparado de otra marca que está en otras marquetas para el uso del off-road? So what's the difference between this brand and another brand that's out there right now and the like competing?
It would absolutely be the technology that's inside. We are the first to have gone to the automotive MOSFETs such that you are not having to stop and check for a relay and a burnt fuse or a blown fuse. So if you are cruising down the highway, well, I guess in this case, cruising off-road on the trail, and all of a sudden you get a flashing light above any one of these switches, it's going to tell you immediately that that circuit is seeing a short, or it's overloaded, or it's over temperature. It tells you exactly which circuit you need to go and you need to check that wiring. All it will do though in that case is shut down that circuit. The remaining, in this case 7 or 11, will remain operational, but depending on what the output is, you may or may not need to attend to it. If it's something critical, it tells you immediately which circuit, because every one of our power modules has a pin out right here on the bottom. So if you're seeing that this one is flashing, you actually can go right down here and know that it's this particular wiring position in the harness, and you can trace it down. You don't have to change a fuse, you don't have to change a relay. All you have to do is look to see if perhaps there's a short. It may be rubbing, as in the example I gave you, where if it was rubbing against something, it was grounding out and creating a dead short, then you were able, all you have to do is figure out why that's seeing a short and correct it. But there's no relay to change, no fuse to change. You don't need to carry any additional equipment, and you also don't have the added expense of relays. Relays and fuses can get very expensive, both in labor for the install and then after the fact when you're actually operational, and you don't have to carry a bunch of extra equipment.
And not knowing if you could even find a relay.
Well, and that's absolutely true. This is self-diagnosing because it will absolutely flash at you. You know exactly which circuit is having the problem.
And ¿dónde se ubican? As in, like, where are you guys located at?
We're in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. So we actually build everything in-house in Orange County, California. We have our boards produced up in Oregon. We have them populated, if you will. That's where they actually put components on in Tustin, California. Everything else, all harnesses, all potting, all machining of our enclosures is done in-house in Rancho Santa Margarita.
And how do the warranty and things like that cost compared to you buying something?
We actually have a 2-year warranty for manufacturer's defects. All we require is that you phone in with your serial number. Let us attempt to diagnose by phone if we truly believe there's a problem with the component, and we'll put it on a test bench and try to figure out if there's a failed component.
So I remember when I bought mine, I tried to put it in, and the second light was on. And I think I called on a Sunday, and you guys are closed on Sundays. But someone was there that day, and all he did was tell me to unplug it and leave it unplugged for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And all I did was plug it back on, and it was working.
Here's the way we operate. We're a family business. We're a small shop. There are only 13 people in our facility. But every single phone call that comes through, like the tech support, it gets translated into the email. We watch that email, 7 days a week, and if we see that somebody is actually having a functional problem that we know is going to be very simple to fix, we will absolutely return that phone call if we're able to, and try. That way you don't have to wait for us to then review the messages on Monday. I can't promise it happens all the time, but I can tell you that if we know that it's an easy fix, it's something really simple, we want to get that call right back out to you so that you can be up and running with no problems at all. Your problem is solved. You don't have to wait for us to get back to you. But we pride ourselves in the service that we provide to our customers. That's really important to us.
All right, so I think that's all the questions we have for you. I appreciate your time.
Oh, I appreciate you guys so much. It's nice to see you again.
Vamos a ver si podemos translate all this in Spanish, so all the people that are out there that don't speak English will be able to understand of all these great products here that we have today, and we'll see what we can get.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you stopping in.
Estamos en la rifa de Pro Eagle. Toda la gente de aquí ya creo que me dieron su nombre. Vamos a ver qué nos ganamos. Hopefully we win something. Bueno, aquí estamos. Este es nuestro último puesto, el puesto de Bridget. Alguien se quiso esperar, no quiero decir nombres, pero pues ya se van todos. Ya chingamos. Perdón por la palabra, pero pues esa es la única. Bueno, tal vez no me pueden escuchar bien, pero vamos a entrevistar a alguien aquí de Bridger para que nos pueda explicar más de las luces y las variedades que tienen. Ahorita no está el muchacho o el señor, pero aquí le vamos a dejar un video de las luces que tienen y de la calidad. Se ven muy bien las luces. Ahí tienen unas en el carro. Si aparece alguien, platicamos con ellos, y si no, pues para la otra o ya veremos. Aquí pudimos encontrar un representante de Bridges, o nos va a poder explicar cómo empezó la marca, las calidades de luces que tienen y las cosas que se pueden hacer con las luces y las diferencias. So first things first, can you explain to us how Bridges started?
So Bridges started in 2006 with a small little shop in a garage, making an American-made product lighting, and from there on we have literally when we started this, nobody did LED lights. So we ended up being who we are today.
All right. And can you explain to us the difference between your quality and the quality from a budget light?
So there's two things to think about when you're talking about lighting. We are American-made. We are the top quality light. We actually warranty our light. Our light is warranted for life. So if something happens, that's manufacturer defect, we'll cover you on it. We replace it. We've actually, if you look at our torture test video, they've been shot, they've been dragged, and they still work.
Another thing is their new technology that you have inside of these lights.
Yep.
And the things that you could do with them, as in like the appliances, like applications.
Yeah, for sure. So we are the factory manufacturer for lights, Ford Motor Company, like Bronco, all the sports stuff. The Toyota TRDs all come with our factory lights. Polaris lights are ours now. We manufacture those. Like, this is the newest and greatest technology. So this is an adapt GPS system. So there's a GPS. The only thing that GPS reads is it has a separate wire that reads power to it that allows it to figure out your speed. It'll actually, as you go faster and slower, it'll speed up. So you're actually putting power down the line. This thing is, like on that little bitty one right here, these are both the motorcycle lights. This is actually, comes as a complete kit. It bolts right onto any dirt bike. It goes right onto the porch. You just put it on, and it'll run off a stator. So any two-stroke older bike will fit it.
So they don't need that much voltage for
No,
that?
sir. We do the best with the least amount of amperage in that, so you don't have to worry about it. Same thing with this. So this is basically like a pod light for the truck, for your truck. So it's that same technology. So this light right here is basically the smaller version of that big 30-inch. This light's over 10,000 raw looms.
Right.
And
then these accessories you can buy.
Yep, you can get. So all of them come with this amber cover. So
Right.
here's your white, and then comes with an amber cover, so you can actually, if you're out in the dust down in Mexico or whatever, you can actually hold these on. So these are for like the side-by-sides, and then this is the direct dirt bike thing.
These also come with a bracket already for them?
Yeah, it comes with a bracket on the bottom. It comes with the entire bracket kit, everything else. For like side-by-sides, it's just a positive, negative, and this is a separate positive to run your GPS. That's all it is.
And this is basically like if you have a Switch Pro, you just hook up to your Switch Pro.
Exactly. Switch Pro is who we use. So Switch Pro works really well with our stuff, and that's who we use.
All right, cool. I think that's all the questions I have
Awesome,
for you.
man. I really appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you guys.
Like I said, I'm trying to help everybody. Try to get on the
I
same.
agree with you. And we love Baja. That's where we actually went down about 2006 and started the whole LED thing in Baja.
Yeah.
And we raised Baja. We were just down there for the one time. So whatever we can do, man. I love the country. It's great people, great food.
Same thing. Same out here. A lot of the people, they buy their Can-Ams or Razors, and as soon as they buy them, they look for LED lights and whatever shows up.
Exactly. They go on Amazon, and nothing against it. I understand the budget deal. I get it.
But I want them to understand that if they spend an extra $200,
spend the extra little bit now. It's the last light you're gonna buy. You know what I mean? It's not, hey, I get 6 months and then I gotta replace it, or
I got a warranty.
Yeah,
or something.
most of these things, like we've had trophy trucks race it and wreck at 100 mile an hour and their lights still work. So you tell me which one will work.
Exactly. All right, my man. So I appreciate it. Hopefully we get some of the content out.
Awesome.
We'll try to translate as much as we can.
Yeah, no worries.
And we'll tag you guys on it.
Tag us on either Rigid Motorsports. We got Instagram is Rigid Motorsports, Rigid Industries, and then our hashtag is Rigid Nation.
All right, cool. I appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pues esto termina nuestro día. Ya pudimos hablar con muchos puestos de aquí que vieron aquí en el día de Open House aquí de Pro Eagle. Nosotros vamos a tratar de traducir lo más que podamos en los videos para que puedan entender ustedes. Si tienen unas preguntas, por favor, comenten y hagan like a este video y vamos a traer más videos si es que se puede. Primero Dios. Gracias.